Hello and welcome to a Dominion League Season 72 match. This is the Week 2 featured match in the C division between Marcus and Knave the Muser. There were some bios in the Discord. I'm not going to read them out, but they've not played in League before was one of the facts from that, which is quite interesting. We have Sailor for trashing. Scrying Pool is probably going to be a nice draw here, but there's also Proc Horse, so that might actually take over. Merchant Guild seems like quite good payload, because we can get Village from Proc and Capital City. And both players starting with a Merchant, which does mean you might see your turn 1 buy, turn 2, which could be very nice. Probably the open is Sailor Slay, I would think. And then maybe add a proc in your next shuffle. I understand the silver because we have a merchant, but I don't think we want too many treasures in our deck. There is marshland for scoring at some point. I don't know. I don't know whether marshland is going to be good here. I mean, we should have lots of buys from Merchant Guild if we go that route, so I can see it being quite nice, but possibly with just piles before we have too many victory cards. Both players go Silver Sailor, which I said I would prefer the Slay. Knave gets a very nice redraw. I don't know. Probably you just buy another Sailor here because we don't need proc immediately. But maybe you pick up proc here and then Slay in the next hand or something. Although you kind of want horses in the shuffle before you take the proc. There is a potion. I don't think we need Scrying Pool. It seems a bit slow to get that working. It's kind of better with Pilgrimage in theory, but players mirroring each other again. Capital City seems okay here, or just for the cycling, really. You do want plus buy at some point as well. I'm not sure when you add Merchant Guild. When you have Capital City as well, Sailor is also kind of like a start of turn draw, which could be relevant. I guess actually you can put proc in before you have the horses, because you could try and line up with Necropolis, which is quite nice. You see here we're just like we've hit 10, and that doesn't really help us at all. Yeah, I don't think these silvers are doing much for us. We don't really need to buy the 5s. You can always, proc and gain a 5. But I do quite like Merchant Gold. I think the plus buy is useful to add early. Although it's difficult to weigh that up against the consistency of Capital City in helping you line up proc horse, which obviously neither player is going for anyway. I definitely want at least one proc here. It could be proc slay immediately. Pilgrimage, Sailor. I mean, Pilgrimage is okay. They can probably maybe buy it this turn. But I'd rather put something into the shuffle than buy Pilgrimage there, I think. 6, like, definitely could be proc slay. It's not even that bad to have to proc the slay if they line up together. You can just regain it. Surely we discard the potion. Yeah, both players really excited by Scrying Pool, which I mean it's quite good here, but it takes a while to set up, and it's not really helping you ramp payload in the same way that proc can. Probably we play Merchant Guild and Pilgrimage here. We can put a Scrying Pool on top. That seems worthwhile. And a proc, hopefully. We don't have much terminal space to play these Merchant Guilds in the sleigh, so yeah, I really think a Procession is doing a lot more than the Merchant there. This is a nice turn for Knave. I don't know what that last card is. I don't know whether we bother cycling to leave a copper in the discard, or if you discard 2 coppers and then draw, you can leave a copper top decked to guarantee it being trashed by Sailor. But and we do. Necropolis was on top. This I imagine will be Pilgrimage, and I would really like a proc to go with it, but I don't anticipate that happening. It would have been interesting to see like if one person went for scrying pool and the other person went for proc horse. I actually don't know which one of these you want to play. Probably Merchant Guild. And they do decide to play their third sailor, which makes sense. This could be like slay double proc or something. I'm just going to keep saying proc until someone buys it. And yeah, actually, I guess if you were planning to get proc, maybe playing slay would be better than Merchant Guild. But not the case. It is turn 11 and no processions. But scrying pool is almost empty. They top decked Markus's scrying pool, which seems a bit generous. Not that it's probably going to matter. I'm sure they're drawing anyway. That is another problem with scrying pool, is that it's just too much clicking. This game would be over by now. Probably on turn count and on clicking time. What? They did the same thing. Yeah. I don't know if we're going back again. I don't know why we wouldn't play the merchant. I guess we don't need the money. I don't really know what the consensus is, but I often feel like you want to leave action cards on top if they're stop cards. Because if, for example, like the top card was Merchant Gold, the second card is Copper. If you leave it on top, then they're gonna get stuck by the copper. But if you discard it, then it helps them find their draw. Markus needs some village, which could be proc or cap city. I'm not sure I know what you mean, Iris. If you discard like a Merchant Guild and then they draw a deck, they're gonna get the Merchant Guild in the end. I'm sure. Well, maybe there's like an edge case where it does stop them picking up that Merchant Guild specifically. But I think discarding it for them makes it more likely they'll draw deck. This could be... I don't really know. I feel like you don't really need to score, but you probably should anyway. You could take like double province and 3 processions or something, and then probably win next turn. Marshland's okay. It's kind of gonna clog up your deck a bit, like more than a couple of provinces would if you got 3 or more marshlands. But it definitely is like it does pair nicely with the number of coffers you could get from Merchant Guild. Although at the moment the players aren't really ramping up that many coffers. Yeah, that's a very good question why there's no procs gained. I think pretty much every turn in the game it would have been correct for them to be bought, and yeah, they haven't. I think even now, if you shove 3 procs in your deck, you can get some, proc, Merchant Guild, gain some, Merchant, gain some more Merchant Guilds, proc the Merchant Guilds, and then just power next turn. And I don't think you need to score here, but you could take double province with 3 processions. You could also just take 5 processions, and I think you'd be like pretty much guaranteed to win. Because even without Slay, it's still good on this board, especially to close out the game. You can proc your merchant guilds, or you can proc your procs into merchant guilds, and it's not happened yet. No, I don't think you need to. I don't think it makes any sense to buy a merchant guild instead of a procession at this point. Because if you want more gains, you can just proc the merchant guild. But yeah, I don't think Markus has. I think Markus is capped at 4 gains. I could be wrong. Yeah, they must be. They only have 3 merchant guilds max. Well, they definitely have 3, because we can see 5 for knave. I don't like that. I agree that there is a decision, or at least it's not obvious to me, in scoring with province mainly versus marchlands entirely. But I don't think playing proc horse is like up for debate, personally. I guess the fear would be blowing up all your cards, but there's good 3s, like 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, so you're not gonna. There are definitely some merchant guild games where you just end up with like way more coffers than you can spend with the buys. So yeah, being able to get in it for no buys is pretty good. But yeah, maybe at that point in the game, like the game's probably over before you get that many coffers here. Not sure what the pause here is for Markus. I don't know why we wouldn't just play Scrying Pool. Hmm. Is that? I don't think the 44 is happening. We'll be able to have cards in hand to discard, but not that many. This ordering is kind of weird because there were more sailors in the discard that we haven't played. But I think the easier way to top deck horse would just be to play Scrying Pool, then play Slay, then play Merchant. I guess this way we've top decked 2 horses, but also a sailor, which isn't very helpful. This should be a pretty easy quad province. Well, five is quite easy as well, right? So 1-0 to Knave. I'm not really sure what happened differently for the 2 players there. I felt like I spent a lot of the early game being distracted by the fact that we weren't playing with proc, and I didn't see what happened with the players' shuffles as to why Knave was so far ahead. I mean, we're going to be playing with Souk here. If Great Leader happens, that would really help the Souk deck, but I also can't see people gaining too many T heists. Not sure what the open is. Maybe Dungeon Broker. It feels like you just want to take coins and buy a Souk. Aristocrat is going to be very nice as a village, I think. It's actually not too bad. It's Tea House because it helps you get more Souks later, or because you want to activate the prophecy. Knave unfortunately doesn't hit 5. Another dungeon seems okay, but that's not really helping you hit 5 either. But I don't really think we want too much of anything else either. I guess Monument's okay. We're probably going to have the terminal space for it in the long run. Silver could be fine. I'd rather not gain too many silvers on this board because you don't want them long term. Markus follows suit with the camel train. I can see it. Obviously, exiling Souks isn't the way you want to be gaining them because then you don't get the on-gain trash benefit. But you can exile some T-highs. Seems okay. I really don't like that artist buy. The exile is maybe okay, but that's really stopped you hitting Souk in this end, which like they knew that they had a tea house coming up. So that seems like a mistake to me. I guess they're contemplating discarding Broker Estate and getting a mint, which could be okay. I'd probably rather just trash Estate and buy a Souk. More tea house. We might as well broker for actions, I think. Unless we can... Is there a way we can hit a good number? We've got 3... Not really. Unless we trash Camel Train with broker. So probably just discard coppers, broker fractions, and Camel Train for whatever. we do decide to go and hit 5. Big mint trash. That seems quite good, I guess. You can then broker mint this turn if you need to buy Souk. And then after that, Great Leader will be active. I don't think the tea house has helped us hit 5 more than the Souk would. Especially like playing with dungeon, so we basically have a 4-card hand. I can believe that tea house as first 5 is better, but I'm not sure it's been too clear. No. Oh. I don't like these artists. I think we broke a mint for coins. I guess you can buy Souk this way as well. Ends out the same. It's got to be Souk. Keeping the mint, I guess, makes sense if you want to take it for coins this turn. We've got such a ridiculous amount of draw for how thin our deck is. Like, obviously I know that the artist helped line up the mint trash, but it also delayed us trashing with Souk. Well, we don't really want to play this dungeon now, assuming we're going for mint. I guess we could. Because you can trash the last 2 coppers when you gain a Souk. Or Souk just now. I don't think we needed to broker our tea house at all then, did we? I don't know how much that helped. Like, couldn't we just play artist? Yeah, anyway. I think Monument Souk here looks good. We trashed copper with broker, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because we could have just trashed mint instead for coins, and then we could have hit double Souk and trashed the copper. But Monument is okay here as well. There's obviously diminishing returns the more Souks you have. And at least like a single copy of Monument is nice for your artists at such a time where you may need that. I think this board is relatively good in terms of greening as Souk boards go, because you can potentially save your dungeon till the end of your turn to discard 2 green cards, and you could also broker a province, and you'll probably have enough buys to just rebuy it. So I think starting to green soonish seems reasonable. Yeah, we trash mint. I guess we're contemplating if we want the favors. I do think double province Souk is very reasonable here. You could also take marshland with, like, if you're not trying to province already, and then that'll kind of refund the buy, and you can broker the marshland for coins next turn, because otherwise we don't really have any broker targets. We should be very consistent here as well. So if you're being greedy, you could probably take double province gold and then plan to broker the gold. But I don't think that's necessary. The camel train surprises me a bit. Quite more than a bit. I don't fully understand that. That was a pretty weird set of buys. I really don't understand the camel train. And I think if you're not spending all of your money, you should take a free marchland to broker it. Markus still has quite a few coppers. How did that happen? Yeah, I remembered he didn't buy the mint, but then I thought he Souk trashed anyway. But then didn't Souk trash last turn. Just trashed one copper with broker. Yeah, that's correct. Mint, camel. As in like camel to and mint both gaining gold. I don't. We exiled another artist. I don't think we need to buy any more artists. We're drawing very well with 2. Like we have the filtering from dungeon. We have plenty of uniques. Yeah, too much draw, not enough payload, I think. Um, I don't know why we didn't just discard artist broker, and then we would have got more money for our Souks. Because we had artist, 3 Souks and a broker in hand, right? You can just discard the artist and the broker and play the 3 Souks without having a broker in your hand. I don't think it's too early for province. I think province is good. I don't know what you're planning to trash with the broker. Maybe Souks. We do have quite a lot of Souks, but you kind of want to keep those. I guess you could trash tea house as well. You can definitely trash the province you just gained. But we had one broke already, so yeah, curious to see what the second one's for. Maybe camel train. It's quite good for piles, and it's relatively inoffensive in your deck, so you don't really need to get rid of it. Not sure what we take with the camel train. You maybe don't want to lower tea house, and beyond that, there's not that much that is helping your deck. Maybe broker. More monument probably doesn't hurt. But yeah, obviously it's going to cost you a buy to free whatever you decide to gain. We're going to have 25, 26 if we want to play the copper. It could. It's probably fine to take Souk. I don't think there's going to be a win for Knave. It's a lot of gains. Could be like Souk double province monument. Potentially. Did we have to play that dungeon already? I wasn't looking at their hand before they played it. Maybe. But surely we're playing Souks before the artist as well. What? Did we need to? I don't think we needed to use broker for draw there. Does this win? It does. There's salt. You can salt the last province. Yeah, that was kind of why I wanted earlier greening. I mean, they only greened one turn later than I thought, but yeah, I thought the power pressure was very valuable. We've got Citadel, which is very nice. Trashing is only trading post, which is quite sad. Probably still worth it. Craftsman, I think, makes sense. I think ultimately you want to be playing Bridge Troll, probably with Heralds. You definitely want to get to Citadel, but that's kind of not going to happen with Craftsman and Bridge Troll because they aren't helping your economy. So that's kind of awkward. I still think you play towards Bridge Troll anyway, and just accept that you're maybe not going to hit 8. Villain, I guess you could bank some coffers, which will help you get up there. But I don't know if that necessarily helps you. Scavenger, I think, makes sense. This isn't a good case. There is Toil, but it doesn't really help you with this hand. In that you can Toil a Craftsman, but that costs you 4 to gain a 5, which you could have bought anyway. But yeah, nice early trading post. I guess the Scavenger still did help. Again, we can play trading post and then Toil the Craftsman. Goes for lab. That seems reasonable. Knave got a Herald and then a trading post. I don't know what you put on top. Probably trading post. I think it's more important than the lab. Yeah, I also know discard there would have been reasonable for sure. Lab on top. It's kind of awkward again, like if you find scavenger before your trading post. So that was why I was thinking you put trading post on top. But you can put it on top there. Top decked Herald and got lucky to find trading post anyway. You can do the toil thing again, but it doesn't do anything again. I guess just star points. I think more lab is probably reasonable. I can see a bridge troll as well. Onyx Hand is quite sad, I think. Is that just scavenger down there? Or do we have... yeah, Knave puts trading post on top, which I agree with. And Craftsman for probably a lab, yeah. Fortress is fine. I think it's nice to have a consistent village. But given that we're not going to be playing with too many treasures, Herald is going to be likely better, I would say. Because if Herald hits, it's essentially 2 cards and 2 actions. Whereas Fortress is obviously just 1. We have the first bridge roll gain, which makes sense. I don't know. I think this can be a bridge draw as well. I don't know for Marcus whether you play Lab or Herald first. I can't remember what's down in those 3. There's 1 scavenger, isn't there? But and there was a lab. So yeah, if you know 2 out of the 3 actions, then Herald first was good. But we get the hit anyway. Here you can probably Craftsman then Scavenger. Unless I can't remember what those 2 cards are. But that way you can top deck the cards you gained via Craftsman. And it costs the same amount of money. Equally, you probably want to get Citadel. I'd forgotten about that. So no Craftsman this turn. That definitely seems worth it. Yeah, 1 coin short of being able to toil, because they cost 4 to toil the Craftsman, essentially. Yeah, I do think Citadel. And Citadel as well for Knave. It seems pretty close so far. I think they might have trashed the same number of cards as well. That's actually not possible because you have to trash them 2 at a time. So I'm not sure who's trashed more. Looks like Markus. I would say definitely Craftsman for Bridge Troll. And then maybe take another bridge troll and then a herald on top. Herald's not super likely to hit, so maybe you want fortress to guarantee the village effect. There's also the option if you take fortress herald, you've got more village, and then you can probably gain and play the next bridge troll with craftsman if you can draw, which I think seems quite likely. Fortress could also come in handy if you like accidentally herald into a trading post. I think yeah, I do still think like bridge troll herald or something would be nice. There's quite a lot of hits that turn with the heralds. But you can probably count on a decent number. I don't think you top deck the bridge troll, which they did. And I do agree with laboratory first. I was contemplating whether there's a case for playing herald first. But I don't think you need the village that badly versus the guaranteed extra draw from the laboratory. There's 3 silvers down there, so this herald is not likely to hit, but you can guarantee it if you if you play fortress, then craftsman for bridge troll. No, you can't guarantee it so easily. Yeah, you didn't have to discard that with scavenger. You could have left it on top, which would have meant that your herald would definitely hit. And we could have saved like we could have played trading post for free. But I guess we're opting to not play it at all, which I don't like. The silvers are just getting in the way. You don't really need them for money. And if you're planning to play trading post, you should play it before bridge troll, because when you gain the silver, if you gain it in your buy phase, you won't be able to then play it. Yeah, if we'd done that differently, we could have guaranteed enough actions to just play the trading post straight up. And we also didn't even take the 50-50 when we had silver and bridge troll in the discard. Ah, that's clever. That is nice. So you can take another bridge troll and toil that as well. The piles are getting quite scary. Is this potentially leaving a pile out? There is a messenger which can allow an extra gain. They've got a craftsman. I don't know how many bridge trolls Nave has. Actually, I guess we can work it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Nave only has 3 bridge trolls. So 4 buys. They can mid-turn gain something with craftsman, or actually end of turn, whenever. So that's 5. and then you can messenger for the last two, which would be a tie as second player. So yeah, I'm not sure if they... Is this enough here? So hitting trading post is quite annoying. Is it optional? No. Oh, actually, we trashed 2 coppers anyway. So, wait, did we count? I didn't count yet. That was enough, wasn't it? If we gained no, not enough. Yeah, no, that wasn't. I don't think it was enough. This feels like it wins. Yeah. That was a nice line with Tile. I enjoyed that. So a game on the board for Marcus. We have Souk again, and Broker again. I think Souk still looks good here. The 5-2 does look quite good, probably. I don't know which 5 to go for. Rice Broker is obviously very nice, but it doesn't help you hit 5 again that well. So probably open Souk, pawn. And on the 4-3, I don't know between Groom and Broker. They both seem pretty reasonable. What would you open, Steph? Rice Broker? Or Groom? Oh, there's Cave Dwellers as well, which I hadn't seen. Yeah, I definitely like Kintsugi on the 3. Sculptor was not on my radar. The villagers can be nice, but I don't think you really want to be gaining silvers here. Grim is just good. Grim for Workers Village, Grim for Broker. So we do get a rice broker. Probably trash copper with it. Groom is also decent at getting actions if you want to use rice broker for draw, which I feel like you will at some point. Is this Souk now for Markus? Although with the sculptor, I guess if you find enough village, then you can sculpt more village, which is okay. But it seems possible that you could not play Souk here if you play more like rice broker for draw, prosper for economy. There's also broker for draw, especially if you're prospering for, a bunch of treasures. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd be curious to see it played out, because the Souk deck doesn't really make the most of Kintsugi, which you can use well if you're prospering, and it obviously doesn't hold green very well. But I still think you can start with Souk for building, and then you can pivot away from it at some point later. But yeah, I think I'm definitely convincing myself more of the Prosper Kintsugi stuff. I guess we sculpt a village. Yeah. It seems very natural. Yeah, I didn't understand the silver gain there. It didn't net you a villager over just taking a workers village, and surely you'd rather have workers village in deck. Both for like the extra one card of cycle that turn, which would have been nice, but also just in general. They've got a rice broker now, which seems good. Rice broker at the pawn seems good there. Markus has the same option. Markus could also rice broker a horse if they think maybe they want the pawn for plus buy, but they should have plenty of workers' villages, so probably rice brokering pawn will be better for them. More Souk for knave makes sense. Broker trashing copper wasn't very efficient. I feel like they could have probably brokered the Souk and then used that money to buy an extra Souk and trashed more coppers. Yeah, more rice broker is good as well. I think... Oh, they played that horse already. I think you definitely rice broker the pawn. Who's got the second groom? I can't find it in the log. But I think that's probably good. I don't particularly enjoy grooming for estate there. They're quite awkward to trash, these estates, because they're not good with rice broker, and Markus doesn't have a regular broker at the moment. More rice broker, probably. Seems good. Another bazaar. I don't think that's necessary. Yeah, more village seems good. I think I will like Prosper and Pawn. Although you kind of want another rice broker before you do that, I think. I don't know. I think Prosper Pawn is good here. But I could also see like rice broker Sculptor or something. Or rice broker Jester. I don't think the bazaars are particularly good. Especially when you're gaining workers village with groom, and the other 5 seem a lot more appealing to buy. Seems reasonable. We can hit Prosper this turn. And we'll have a second Rice Broker. But we do now have another Souk, which doesn't play very well with the Prosper deck that I'm envisioning. So maybe they're just playing straight Souk. But yeah, I definitely think Neighbour's quite a long way ahead here. I think the Prosper is too early for Markus because they don't have very good deck control at the moment. They're not going to be drawing very well, that reliably. What do we groom for? I would like a broker. I hadn't even considered to look for a win. What are we piling? Groom, village, estate? That seems very likely to be here. So we can gain 2 more grooms, then draw them. Going for brokers. Is that for actions? No, because there's no more grooms. Probably we can start scoring here. But also we don't need to, I think. So if we're not scoring, what are we getting? One more Rice Broker for consistency seems worthwhile. We could take 1 Prosper for sure, and then broker the loots. But I'm not sure that's the best use for our money. It seems okay, I guess. We're still winning, I think, but yeah, your last time was relying on finding Rice Broker with an action. They did it twice. They didn't need to do it both times, but yeah, only two Rice Brokers in all these cards is not great. So I would have liked another one. And really, there was no threat from Markus, so we didn't actually need to score. This is 16. Could double province with Kintsugi. Yeah, so I guess for knave to draw, they need to find roast broker or a regular broker. They can start grooming for estates if need be to like try and find stuff. But unless you're winning that turn, they do get in the way quite a bit. I definitely think at the very least we could have gained more grooms last turn as knave, even if we weren't going for the pile out. You can lower a bit more and then score. Is Markus maybe thinking about double Kintsugi silver into Souk? It seems like it based on the money that they're leaving behind. It would hope you get thin. And I don't think you want to start panicking about having to score now to protect against the win that knave might have, because they'll probably have it anyway. But I don't think I want to take two Souks there. You could take like one Souk, a rice broker, and two pawns or something as rice broker food. Obviously that does lower the pawns, which helps knave pile out. Yeah, it seems reasonable. I think you have to play to expect that you're gonna get more turns. Yeah, I do think we start getting estates here. You could. Wow, they just went straight for it. This feels like it's very easily here. On Grimm's village pawn seems like the easiest. But yeah, this will win. I'm not going to do the thinking. I'll let knave do the thinking, but I've declared that it is a win. See? Markus did the thinking for us. We do not have a village, which is quite sad, because the rest of this board looks very nice. So you could do like flagship wishing well stuff for money. It's not a village, but it's like a conspirator kind of. I think we want to open Steward for thinning. I'm not sure what you open with the Steward. Maybe wishing well. Maybe flagship and go for a high roll. I don't think moneylender seems good. This is super awkward to try and get. Actually, there's pouch as well. I was thinking it seems quite awkward to get enough cards for lamp to pop. But we can easily have like flagship, wishing well, cave, copper pouch lamp, without even needing silver. I actually don't really know when to play with Highling because I normally just avoid it, assuming that it's bad. I've definitely lost to people who just put loads of Highlings down, and that is always a shameful experience. But I don't, yeah, I don't know how good it is. Huh? I didn't mention earlier, but like plus buy is going to be plentiful. I'm sure at some point we can see Way, Flagship, or Wishing Well. I guess you could credit early for a Highling if you really wanted it. But yeah, it it doesn't feel good to me, but I don't have a good intuition for Highling. I don't think we're playing with change here. I can see it would possibly be good if we had a village, but that being the terminal of choice doesn't seem right. Markus does open the Highling. I don't know. We'll see. It does obviously help Lamp, and is a top decked lab, which is decent. If they draw Wishing Well off the top, they could in theory pop it this turn. I don't know what you wish for when you get the wishes. Maybe more Highling. Maybe just gold. Knave playing Blockade. Which is, it doesn't feel like the payoff is there for Blockade here. You can blockade Wishing Wells, which does make it kind of annoying for your opponent if they want to game Wishing Wells. But then you just have a deck full of Wishing Wells. The second blockade also doesn't help you activate Lamp. Yeah, wishing for Secret Cave makes sense as well. I would say Seaware Flagship, maybe. I definitely want Seaway, and you don't really want to take the curse for the Wishing Well. You might not be able to play. Well, you can't play Flagship and Steward next turn. But yeah, seems good. Only 4 cards trashed on after turn 6 for both players, which is quite slow when there's Steward on the board. I know Markus bottom decked Steward, and Knave chose not to play it that one turn in favor of Blockade, which didn't feel correct. But that kind of ties into the fact that blockading a blockade didn't feel correct. I'm definitely coming around to the Highling open. But only because of Lamp purposes. That seemed fine. We're activating anyway, aren't we? Yeah. Yeah, so Navy's popping this turn. Markus is also popping this turn. It's definitely annoying. You do want to be clicking Wishing Well here. So the blockade is being a bit of a nuisance. I think you take Secret Cave. I don't think you want silver. The cave, you're not going to be discarding with Cave because we don't have draw, but you can just use it in between flagship plays to get the cantrip effect, so you can play the next flagship. Knave again, choosing not to play Steward. I guess one of these wishes is flagship. I don't know what the other one is. Maybe gold. I don't know about Highling. I'd rather have a flagship down for next turn. And we moved Seaway to Wishing Well. Seems fine, I guess. Probably doesn't really matter which one it's on. Yeah, if we'd gained a flagship, we could have got plus buy last term, and then we could have bought like flagship Wishing Well or something like that. Yeah, Wishing Well definitely gets played more, but like we've got pouch as well, and how much? I don't know how much plus buy we need in a turn. I agree. If you've got 5 and you're gonna buy a Wishing Well, you might as well Seaway it. But yeah, I think we could have just bought stuff last turn instead of Seaway. We were wishing for gold again. You want to trash with Steward, surely. Yeah, I vote wish for gold. I don't know. Trashing 2 coppers is like getting 2 Hirelings and playing them. Obviously we can trash them at some point later, but I don't know when that's going to be. Seems reasonable to start greening. I don't think we're going to build too big here. What's down there? There's a Steward. I think another copper. Definitely coppers. Wow. We can't even play that Steward. Well, we could, but I would rather play flagship. I guess it didn't matter whether we got the wish right. Flagship province seems reasonable there. Yep. And this turn, assuming it all goes well, we'll be able to trash with Steward and set up flagship for next turn. So yeah, I think we discard. Probably trash with Steward, but I guess we don't really need to. What's the money situation? We've got 5, 9, 10, 13. Could be 15 or 11. 11 is that right? Did I miscount? Yeah, because I counted the copper that. Yeah, definitely single play Steward. I hadn't even seen that was happening. Yeah, Knave just never got thin. I think a lot of that was the blockades not helping, and they were actually getting in the way of the Stewards. So game 6, and I think Knave is 3-2 up. Paolo not a fan of something on this board. I don't know if it's catapult or battle plan. Both seem reasonable to hate. Yeah. Ooh, the 5. Yeah, the 5-2 seems kind of bad. Yeah, I can see that Seller could pass the nothing test here. But yeah, definitely a bad split. I don't know whether we bonfire here much. Obviously, you'd rather be trashing estates with something else because your catapult is good for coppers. I think if you take catapult, you probably want battle plan to go with it. Would be my opinion. You could go for groom. I can see groom as a potential. Do you take another battle plan? Yeah, that seems correct. Surely Markus just pitches all three of those. And then you might as well play barge for this turn. Oh, you could pitch for money. I don't know. I don't know about pitching for money. You can guarantee double battle plan, I guess. I don't know. I'd rather just play the barge. Like, you're not going to draw anything dead, and then if you next turn it misses your shuffle. Whereas if you pitch for draw and then play barge straight up, then you're going to shuffle next turn already, which seems good in my opinion. I feel like you probably want to take a battle plan, painful as it may be. It would have been nice to not draw that estate. Would have been very nice. Another reason you probably want to play barge now, I think, is that you're likely getting catapult attacked, given that you didn't get attacked last turn, and then you'd rather not have to discard before you draw at the start of turn. Yeah, resigning does feel reasonable. The main point against that is that there's loads of spectators. Well, at least that would be in my head. I don't know if we take Archer here. No, just Groom. Seems reasonable-ish. Although we're going to run into a bit of terminal issues, I think. Because I don't know what we Groom for in the meantime. When we're more set up and consistent, you can Groom for Conspirator, and that's very nice. Because Conspirator is like with Chameleon, it's like a lab +1 coin. But yeah, until we have like Nobles and Warlord and everything set up, I don't know what we Groom for. Yeah, I wonder actually, because I'd forgotten. I always forget that battle plan can rotate other piles, but Knave could have rotated off Catapult instead of off battle plan. But no, that doesn't help because then Markus gets a battle plan and can rotate back. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that happen where someone gets denied battle plan and also Catapult. That seems quite reasonable. No? You know that Markus just saw Barge. I think it's not guaranteed that they don't, but it's likely. So they saw a copper discard. They saw Barge go. I guess the horse and the settler can both help activate Conspirator. I feel like you have to take a warlord. And probably going to be denied 5. I think you pitch seller for coins here and then play catapult. I don't like that. I guess it's fine. You can play conspirator for draw. Yeah, I mean they let Marcus get 1 warlord, but they're not going to get both. Leaving the second warlord as well doesn't seem great. I still think the knave is pretty far ahead. Do we pitch groom here, or do we hope for the high roll of drawing nobles? Yeah, let's just draw nobles. That seems far easier. I guess there was a what's it called, conspirator down there as well for draw. GG's has been called. Seems reasonable. Yeah, that was a brutal 5-2 and subsequent shuffles. So 4-2 to knave in their first match this season. That was Markus's second match. I think they won the first one 5-1, if I recall. Thanks everyone for listening, and have a nice rest of the day, whatever time period you're in. Cheers.